Hello everybody. Sorry for the little late start here today. OBS Studio displayed its dreaded black screen when I started it up, and I've spent the last 25 minutes troubleshooting it to get it to actually display correctly. So hopefully everything is fixed with that and we're up and running correctly. The other thing that I've done is, after the last stream was plagued by so many crashes at the end, I switched my Baldur's Gate 3 from Vulkan to DirectX. We'll see if that solves any of the crashing issues. Hopefully it does. There have been a lot of comments on forums and threads about Vulkan versus DirectX for Baldur's Gate 3, so hopefully that fixes some crashing issues and we won't get as many disruptions as we did last time. But again, we'll just have to see. Things aren't 100% solidified, and with the patches come a lot of different glitches that pop up, so definitely I've gotten a lot more crashes on patch 7 than I do with patch 6, but not saying it's entirely the game's fault. We'll just try and make a few tweaks here and there and see what we come up with. So with that, I guess let's go ahead and get ready to jump in. If you remember from last time, we ended the stream after a couple of crashes, but basically getting really lucky on lockpicking a hatch. That hatch leads us into a chapel. It's one of the 3 ways to, well, 4 ways actually, to enter into the chapel. So I think what we'll probably do is kind of go through those 4 different ways as soon as we jump in, and then we'll go in through the hatch that we managed to pick and see how well this goes based upon entering that way. So let's jump in and go. Alright, so here we go. Here's the door, the hatch that we picked very luckily last time. Let's head back up here and we'll talk about the other ways to enter this chapel real quick before we go in that way. Okay, so the first way to get into that chapel is obviously what we've already discussed, which was picking the lock at that hatch over there. Another way is that ancient door that we found very early on in the playthrough. You can attempt to pick that door as well. Again, a very high DC. It has a 15 DC on the door, but maybe you get lucky like I did. This is actually where you're going to be coming out of the chapel playthrough normally, but again, if you want to try and pick your way in through at the start of it, you can kind of avoid all the chapel encounters and end up right at the ending area, so to speak. But we're not going to go in that way. The other way is here, and that's the main door into the chapel here. Okay, so again, another pickable door here to enter into.
Thank you, Gibblebuck. Everything all right out there?
Okay, now this opens up an interesting encounter here. obviously, Gimblebach was the name of the fighter, the dwarven fighter, that, or the halfling fighter that you encountered out here, that you've done away with in rather dramatic fashion in our last playthrough. These are obviously friends of Gimblebach, and you can now try and trick your way in, so to speak. So again, you can pass either a couple of charisma checks here, again at a -1 for me, and try and persuade your way in, so to speak. That's the normal way to go in. We're not going to go that way either because we have something else open to us. The last way to get in is something that I've mentioned this a few times at the start of the playthrough, and you really need to pay attention to your overall environment and what things look like around you. So you can see that there's a broken out area down here, and it says there's an area to interact with this cracked stone.
There's something underneath here.
Okay, so they're giving you a hint that there's something underneath here, but how do you get to it? Well, if you move around, you can see that there's a foundation block up here. So if you click on it,
one good push away from tumbling.
It says it looks like it's loose. Well, instead of clicking on it, if you right click,
it's loose.
Sorry, if you just attack it, it will fall through and it will open up this chamber here below. And you can actually jump down in there and enter the chapel that way. Again, without doing any lockpicking or any ability checks or anything like that, you can enter the chapel here this way. This is another really good way to enter the chapel. We are going to go through the way that we opened up though, but that gives you the other ways to get into the chapel. So if you're not any good at lockpicking, or you don't have any thieves tools left on you because you've tried to pick open chests or things like that, there are other ways to get you into this area. So wait for everybody to catch up here, and now we're going to go ahead and enter through this hatch. Okay. And now you're inside this crypt, and you can look around. There's not a whole lot that you're able to see. Down going this way, and it doesn't look like on our map that you could get down that way even if you wanted to. So cautiously and carefully start exploring your way around, and you can see you can automatically get right into a section of the chapel here and kind of start looking around. But let's see what other options we have here.
Swift as my feet can carry me.
Okay, you see on our minimap that we can't get out this way. There's nothing out that way for us to get to that we can see on our minimap. Okay.
If not over, then
So now we can get ready to enter this chapel here, and I'm going to go into sneak mode. Just to check around and see what enemies might be lurking around here. You can see that we have some dead scribes here, sitting in various locations. The third one up here.
Wonder if the gods
Let's continue on in.
Breathe deep and move.
They look like scribes, despite the weapons. No surprise that they died then.
I wonder what was so subversive about their words that they commanded protection.
Okay, so you see we're getting some interesting information here. We can go ahead and light up some of the area, and we can do some searching here. Normally wouldn't recommend doing searching when you haven't fully explored the area around you. Normally not a great idea, but you do see also that we have another way to get up and down from this elevated platform other than the stairs. So searching around like this helps you open up escape routes and things like that you might need to utilize, because certain paths are blocked by enemies later on. So scouting around is always a good thing to do at the start. And like I say, I always do it in sneak mode, just so if there are any enemies that are out there, I can see their vision cones and react accordingly.
No traps.
Looks like we got a chest here. Guiding bolt, so I'm gonna give that to Shadowheart. Scroll of Silence, I'm gonna give that to Gale. Okay, so while we're here, we can search the scribes.
Light on my feet.
Gale doesn't need another quarterstaff. He's already got one, so I'll just store that with
Everything.
Lae'Zel. Okay, looks like we've got a large door here. Probably the way that you would normally be able to enter into this space if we didn't have access through that hatch. Go light this brazier up. Burning hands.
Never wanted the easy path. Have to keep going.
Everything looks fairly empty through here. Looks like we've got another doorway that leads off, and you can look at your mini-map and see there's obviously another chamber back that way. Looks like we've got another scribe over here. Can light up some more candles. And a heavy key. It's a story item, which means it's obviously used for something around here. So remember that. Keep that in mind as we go here. And it looks like we've got another candelabrum and another chest over here. Okay, so a glass chalice doesn't weigh very much, is worth a bit of gold. The plate's not worth very much. Okay, so it looks like we've kind of opened up everything here up top. So let's kind of take a look at what's going on down here. Rather ominous looking statue.
Don't waste a step.
Juggle? I didn't think anyone worshipped the scribe of the dead.
Okay, so again, there was a religion check completely in the background as we moved up. One of our characters failed it, the other three passed it, and that opened up that dialogue explaining basically what this is. It's a statue of Jargal, and gonna kind of get a little bit more into that as we go here. So let's kind of look around down here. Whoop. Like we got a warrior. Scimitar. Interesting. So let's look at our inventory here and see. We've got a short sword that's 1d6 and our goblin scimitar. We have a scimitar here that's the exact same. But you see it looks, the proficiency unlocks are what's here. So if we look at a short sword, I don't know if I have another one in my inventory, but yeah, you can see that you have piercing strike and you have flourish, the two proficiency unlocks for a short sword. Here you have flourish and lacerate that go along with it. So it's just different weapons offer you different proficiency unlocks. The only reason that I really like the scimitar is because I want to get rid of that ugly goblin looking one that we have. And I'm actually going to trade these back and forth. I always like having the scimitar in my main hand. It's just longer. It's just me being me. But it doesn't really matter in that case, since they're both light, they're both finesse weapons. It doesn't matter which hand either one of them is in. So go up this way and explore this back area here. Okay, doesn't look like we have anything here. So we'll go and we'll head around to the other side. Now these, you see them as I've moused over them a couple of times, but we have these hanging braziers, which now that I go and talk about them are outside of the field of view. There's one here. You can light these. If you have firebolt or fire spell, you could target those and light them. If you won't at this point, but if you happen to come back and or you skip this and bring it back later and you have a bow that has flame on it or flaming arrows in your inventory, you can again shoot that with your bow and light those things up. Again, not mandatory that you do that at all, but the options are there to interact with those things if you have the ability to interact with them. Okay, there's a perception check. It succeeded, and it opened up this button. I don't know if you managed to be looking at it, but there was just a light spot there on the wall before the perception check succeeded. If you didn't succeed, then that button would not show up at all, and you wouldn't be able to click it or interact with it. We'll be able to do that here in a second. Okay, so we'll go ahead and check out this button. And it has been a while since I saved. And right when I'm trying to save, I get a crash. Okay, so we're essentially right back where we were. Okay, so you can see what that did. It did open up, or start to open up a room over here, but what it did was now activate all of these scribes and warriors that were here previously that were laying on the ground. They're now active. There's 5 of them. We've rolled for initiative. You can kind of see where we are with those initiative rolls, and we rolled really well. All of our initiative takes place first, so we're able to make all of our movements first, and we can make these in any order that we want here, as long as we don't end the turn out of order here. So let's kind of think about what we are and look at kind of what we are. We're back in a corner here, which can be both good and bad. It can be good in that your enemies have to come at you one way, It can also be bad in that the enemies, if they're spellcasters of some sort, which looks like they might be, at least the scribes anyway, obviously the warriors not. If they cast an AoE spell, you're all bunched up in one particular location. So I think what we're going to try and do, though, is see if we can lay down some area denial type of spells and maybe close off some portions of this. The warrior has a lot of hit points, and we want to make sure that they're not attacking the squishier members of our party. So let's kind of first get Lae'Zel moved up to the front here so that she can take, you know, some of the brunt of what's happening here. We'll get our ranger in a position and see if they have any attacks that they can make. So they can here make an attack, but let's see what that means. Yeah, see, my ranger's gonna have to move up to make that attack. They certainly can. Let's see if there are any others. Yeah, that one's too far. But we do want to try and eliminate targets if we can. But see, that is 10 hit points, 4 to 11 hit points of damage there. We might be better off trying to ensnaring strike the warrior instead. There's only a 56% chance to hit because the warrior's outside of nominal range. Okay, so now my hit, and the reason the percentage went down is because I lost the high ground bonus on that. So first of all, let's cast, actually we can just reapply Hunter's Mark. Okay, and now let's try a ranged ensnaring strike. See if we can get this to hit. Perfect, we did. Okay. So now he's ensnared for 10 turns at this point. He's going to get a chance to make saving throws here, but now we might have the opportunity to move forward more with Lae'Zel. She already used a bunch of her movement points, but maybe we can get her up to a point up here by using dash. Because she can just climb right up here.
Make way.
Get her to a point where maybe she's not being attacked by the other two, which are over here. We just have... yeah, we've got those two and this one way over on this side. So maybe we can limit her attacks to only being open from one particular location. And to do that, we're going to kind of move her up here behind this column. Okay, can't reach over here. That's perfectly fine. What we will do... oh, because dash was her action, so I can't do anything with the bow anyway. It's like, why is that not working? Okay. So, our ranger's again done at this point.
Swift and
so, Lae'Zel can end her turn. It's going to skip right over my ranger because her turn's done anyway. So now for Shadowheart. So, let's look at what we can do here. Now remember, Shadowheart does have a channel divinity, which is going to turn undead. But let's see if we can hold on to that for now. And instead just try and cause some damage with things here. So let's see what the... so it would be 88% to hit. You would have to move farther down. But she could. Now, this cantrip only does 1d8, so it's not going to kill even any of the scribes. But let's just go ahead and cause some guaranteed damage here on the warrior. It looks like he passed his saving throw. Okay. So, looks like we're finished here. There's nothing in bonus actions that I want to deal with her yet, so we'll give the enemy some chances to attack here. Okay, so the first scribe is bypassing Lae'Zel entirely, and now our raven has a turn. So what we want to try and do, this is wielding a quarterstaff here, so probably a magic user of some sort. So let's see if we can fly over here. Okay, now let's see if we can rend vision here. Okay, so the magic user's blinded. We've got what looks like a melee scribe here. And the last one over here looks like another magic user. Again, I'm just basing that purely on the weapons, but let's kind of see what happens. So the next one to try and attack is going to be this one over here. So let's see what they do. Okay, looks like they tried to cast a spell of some sort, and it either malfunctioned, didn't work in some way. So let's see. This looks like a melee scribe here. So again, let's see if we can start taking out some of these magic users, if we can. So, oh boy, and I did not recharge my spells. Oh, that was not bright. Okay, so I can do a cantrip here, but gonna have to move closer. So let's actually try and cast it here. Okay. Oh, put my raven to sleep. Okay. So let's start taking out some of these enemies here, starting with Lae'Zel. So, okay, so we have a really good chance to hit here. And take him out. Not enough movement here, so let's go ahead and get this one taken care of. And let's try not to do something stupid like attacking from that way. Really? I have no idea what happened there. I really don't. I'm not even going to care at this point.
I wonder if this is worth the cost.
Okay. So this one is going to be here. They're going to be the next one to attack after this. So let's see if we can just... maybe we can do an offhand attack here.
May the gods take you first.
Okay, good. Now let's see if we can do our ranged attack here. Okay, good. That made up for whatever happened up here earlier, and it got rid of those two. So we're going to end her turn. get Shadowheart into the mix, and now we've got these two scribes left over here. So, yeah, and either way, Shadowheart's going to have to move out of the corner here. Let's see if we can...
Feel my mistress's wrath.
Okay, that was a poor roll. Alright, now we'll give the warrior a chance here to... Oh, didn't. Ray of Frost. Okay. Alright, well that didn't work out for them. So...
Let's light them up.
Move up. Okay, so still one here. This one is still farther up there, I think. So... I doubt... Yeah. Doubt I'm gonna be able to do anything with that. But, so I might as well... Yeah, I might as well just cast a cantrip here. Get some damage out. Try and move back out of the way maybe a little bit. Okay, cash dash. Okay. So not a whole lot that can happen there. They're both on the complete opposite side of where I'm at. So... let's see what I can do here. There's not a whole lot of options here. I could do this completely ranged. Not very good chances to hit, but at least I can get some damage out and start advancing her toward that location at the same time.
Stay at my feet.
Okay, so... the hunter's mark is... oh, yeah, it's not. Because the concentration changed. Another thing that I wasn't paying attention to. I cast Hunter's Mark, but then when I did Ensnaring Strike, that changed my concentration to Ensnaring Strike. So I'm going to have to keep either just meleeing to avoid that concentration break. Was hoping I would get a kill there. 80% chance to hit.
Time to deal some punishment.
Good deal. Okay. So that scribe is going to get a chance to hit here. Looks like magic missile probably. Okay. And they didn't. So we'll move Gale out where he can get line of sight. Oh, wow. Outstanding. Nice attack, Gale. One hit quitter. Okay, so now we can move up with Lae'Zel. Yes, it tells you what dark vision is and what it does. We get it. And see if she's close enough. Looks like she is. Perfect.
Still alive, so that's progress.
Rising from the dead just to protect some dusty baubles. Fools.
Okay, so that exclamation point that appeared above Shadowheart's head indicates that there's some dialogue options that are going to be available with Shadowheart or with that character at that time, so you can just go over and talk to him, and it's going to open up various things like this. So these things normally are going to impact how the party member views you through that approval system that's built into the game. So when you get these things, try and think about how they're going to react to them, and see how the other party members might react to either one of the two options that happen here. So she's saying that it wasn't a great idea for them to, you know, rise up from the dead just to protect some loot that's on the ground. It was foolish of them to do that. So if you couldn't agree more, if you say this option, you're probably going to get approval from her, but you might get disapproval from others. But on the other hand, you can, if you mention this, maybe her being a cleric and being part of a religion, maybe this will not have a negative effect as well. But either way, you can just think about it from the other party members' viewpoints and just pick whichever one you want. At the end of the day, it's probably just going to influence the approval system, and that's it. So not a whole lot of major things that's going to happen with choices like this, so you can really just pick whichever one you want. So
Please, save your regrets. This place isn't worthy of them. Let's move.
okay, so you see, that's basically what it was. It was just a way to get some sort of approval out of it. So it looks like there's a plaque down here that we could try and read.
The inscription is in a language unknown to you.
Okay, so now we can go around and
Let's have a look.
pick up any loot from these scribes. It's going to be the same loot that we saw earlier.
I need to rest soon.
Let's try and save our game again.
Wonder if the gods are watching me. Open up. If not over, then through. Time to press ahead. Best be on my way.
Sometimes the pathing here is just a little strange. Okay, so we got a cup, chalice, and again a plate, so we got a slightly different loot out of that chest than we did last time. So we can move over to the other side and deal with the chest that's back here. Okay, same stuff that we got last time. Well, slightly different. Couple of silent scrolls.
Light on my feet.
They're very good.
Should mind my step. No traps, please.
Here's the scimitar. So again, I'm just going to quickly change that over. You still got some weight to be able to give there.
These boots have seen everything. One day.
Okay, so now we can go back up here. Kind of look and see what touching this did.
How much farther can I go? A lot of effort to hide one sarcophagus.
Okay, so you can see we opened up another room there. There's a heavy chest here. It's a bunch of vases to look at. Okay, heavy chest. Amulet of Lost Voices. Okay, this is interesting. Basically, what this allows any character to do is to cast the Speak with the Dead spell, even if they're not a magic user. So, if you equip it in your amulet slot, you can now see here that the Speak with the Dead spell popped up, but it's not over here on my spell side. It's here as indicating that it's given to me by an item. So basically, and you can cast it on any dead creatures, not undead. And it replenishes after every long rest that you take. And we're going to have to take one of those here because, again, at a point where I forgot to refresh my spells before I went into this encounter, which wasn't very good. So let's see if we can read this plaque first.
Here lies the guardian of tombs. Through knowledge comes atonement.
Okay, so we're going to save again here. So the Guardian of Tombs in a richly adorned sarcophagus. If you think about classic Dungeons and Dragons, you start thinking about something like that, and it says we can loot this. Do you really think about looting a sarcophagus inside Dungeons and Dragons and being able to do it without any consequences? Never really know. But we can move up here and kind of see what happens when you do this.
So he has spoken, and so thou standest before me, right as always. What a curious way to awaken. Now, I have a question for thee. What is the worth of a single mortal's life?
Okay. So, again, as per expected, you don't just open a richly adorned sarcophagus in Dungeons and Dragons without something happening. So this is a very interesting interaction that can open up some stuff for you in the game here. So he asked us a question: what's the worth of a single mortal life? And yeah, you have the option to attack here. Certainly can. You might want to look at other options here and see what might come out of this. So these options are going to be kind of ordered here a little bit from, you know, more condescending to kind of normal to questions back to them. So let's just kind of walk through this and kind of see what happens.
Curiosity. Nothing more. Wilt thou answer my question? So, I ask again, what is the worth of a single mortal life?
Okay. So here we get into some philosophical answers here. And starts off with everyone's equal. After that, it kind of goes into various levels of valuing individual persons, except for this one, which says that everybody's of infinite value. Kind of the same here, except this is saying everyone's equal, but everyone needs to be sacrificed for. This is obviously the more selfish option. This is the greedy option. People are only around to give me gold and currency. And this is more the kind of ethical check or morality check type thing. Good people are worth more than others, so to speak. I'm going to say that we're all equal and go from there.
In death, that is so. Very well. I am satisfied. We have met, and I know thy face. We will see each other again at the proper time and place. Farewell.
Okay. And he decided to walk off. Now you can look at the sarcophagus again and see that there are more things inside of here. So gold, obviously good. Necklaces, obviously good. And a soul coin. These, I haven't found a whole lot of use for them in the early access playthroughs, but I haven't gone 100%, so to speak, through the through the entire everything explorable inside the early access either. So maybe I'm missing something, but they're very valuable and they do have a use in tabletop. We'll see how well that translates into a use inside the game as we go here. But you can again talk to Withers.
I want to have a word.
We have nothing more to discuss. Continue on thy way, as if I were not here. I must attend this place after so many years away. We will see each other again soon. The mechanics of fate would be difficult to explain to one such as thyself. Regardless, it will occur.
Alright, so Withers is being a little cryptic here.
What a mess the ages cause.
About meeting you again, but this would probably be a good time for me to do a long rest. I'm out of short rests. I need to replenish my spells. So let's go to camp here and kind of get our spells back and get replenished a little bit here. So you click long rest. It's going to check and see if you have enough camp supplies in your inventories to be able to restore all of your hit points and spell slots. Even if you don't have enough in your inventory, you can still go to camp. That doesn't prevent you from doing it. It's just going to pop up a thing that tells you, I've looked at your inventory, you have enough camp supplies to get everything back when you do it. So, do you still want to go to camp? If you don't have enough supplies, it will tell you, and if you don't want to go to camp, then you don't have to. You can look at other ways for replenishing hit points, or you can go some other place to try and get more camp supplies to do it. So, but here, we know we have enough, we're going to click yes. Okay, so it creates a campsite. Now your campsite is location dependent, meaning we put this campsite down inside of the chapel. So it's going to create a campsite that looks something like that chapel surrounding that you were at. It's not the chapel. This is a different location that is entirely self-contained. You're not going to get attacked. You're not going to have anything like that happen in here. But it's a place where all of your unlocked, so to speak, characters are available for you to interact with, as well as Withers. Withers Well, actually, let's not spoil it. Let's kind of look around here and we'll kind of explain. So you can go talk to any of your unlocked characters. There are various things inside of this area that you can look at and interact with. So a burlap sack you can walk up to and you can try and search it. Just like, you know, anywhere else. You're normally not going to find a whole lot of stuff in any campsite that you set up that's going to be of a benefit from a loot perspective. The game isn't into giving you free loot very often.
Have to keep going.
But you can you can explore these other rooms around here. And look around. Kind of, again, admire the graphics of what's here.
Moving in.
Doesn't look like there's anything going on in this room.
Deep and move.
Okay, now this room again has a bunch of searchable things laying around, but again, don't expect there to be too much in the way of I'm going to give you free loot in any of these objects. So, but again, just an exploration thing, and it can also kind of help you get used to knowing that if you see something that looks like this, it might be searchable in a bookcase, and that sort of stuff. So some of this is kind of useful from that perspective as well. So we can go around searching other things, and I'm not going to search anything else because like I say, I know what we're going to be getting and not getting from these. Look around the back. It's all very interesting. Something I didn't notice previously was this area up here. It's got a railing all the way around it, so I doubt I could get up there. But interesting.
Can't slow down.
Okay. And looking down around this area. Nothing down here either. So let me look for something.
Best be on my way.
That I think I missed.
Have to keep going.
Oh, yeah, I did miss it. That's like, where is it? Your traveler's chest. This, every time that I've clicked on something and said send to camp, this is where it ends up. So you can see the slave mind and our mind and dark mind that I put in here, all of the camp supplies, all the bottles that I've sent into here, all ended up in this chest. And you can freely walk up and take things out of this chest and put things back in. And I'll explain kind of why that's going to be important here in a second. But just to kind of go through, I've got some bottles here that I can send to camp. I had 3 bottles in there previously. Now you can see I've got 5. So everything just transfers directly into this chest, and it gives you a kind of a free storage space while you're out adventuring. If you can't pick something up, you can always send it to your camp chest in here and store it until you get a chance to pull it out. Now, that means you're going to have to go to camp to be able to get that item out of there and then leave camp at the end of that time. But that's perfectly fine. It just takes you, more time to be able to do it. So I'm going to go through here and see if there's anything else that need to go to my camp. For now, I don't think there was... Oh, there was another couple of... Okay, so it looks like that's it. Okay, so you can see that I've got 2 sets of camp supplies. You don't ever need to carry 2, so I'm going to split this in half. and send one of them to the camp. And now what I'm going to do is pull out of here 40 supplies. What I don't want to do is use those supplies that I have in my inventory. I'm going to pull out, since I've got all these supplies in here, I'm going to use them instead. So I'm going to pull out 40 total here and just put that into my inventory. So that's 6, 7, 12, 13, 14, 19, 20, 25, 30, 40. Okay, so now when I rest, I'm going to be able to use everything except for the camp supplies. So that's the another benefit of having that chest in there, is that you can store all your camp supplies in it. You can use those to rest instead of the camp supplies that you're carrying around in your inventory. You don't want those cluttering up things or giving you a lot of weight. So just use the stuff that you keep in camp. Okay? So let's do some interactions here. And you see that Lae'Zel does have an exclamation point above her head, so it's probably going to open up an extended cutscene here.
Inside us, and you think to be idle. I knew your kind to be fragile, but I didn't foresee the severity. Be quick about your rest. We must locate a crash. The parasites inside us do not rest. Even as we speak, they defile our brains and warp our bones. Take your rest. I will stand watch. Should a single tentacle split your skull, I will not hesitate to end you.
That's the same reaction most people have to Lae'Zel. So that opened up an option. I didn't get any approval or disapprovals from my choice here, but it doesn't mean that you can't continue to talk.
Chatter already, Tusky.
And this is your opportunity to explore the characters, flesh out the narrative, and also possibly open up additional quests and things like that. So you want to take the opportunity to talk to all of your characters whenever you go through a rest and see if there are any new dialogue options that may have opened up due to things that they experienced while you were out adventuring throughout the game. So since this is our first time doing a long rest, we're going to go through some of these options on all of our characters. So if you don't want to see any of this or know how any of it works, then just feel free to skip forward on the VOD later on. For those of you who are stuck with me on the stream, we're just going to go through this and flesh out some of the game here.
I expect I am your first. I suppose I am as alien to you as you are to me. I know of your kind, but I do not often encounter them. That large, fleshy nose of yours looks like a mistake. Better is an opinion, but mine is certainly more economical, disciplined, dignified. I understand much beyond your comprehension. More to the point, I know the cure for our condition. It is imperative we locate a creche. You do well to observe more and question less. We find this Zorru in the Red Hunter's camp. He will point us to a creche. There we may be purified. Yes, in great detail. It starts with a fever and memory loss. Then you start to hallucinate. Your hair falls out, and you bleed from every orifice. Your bones will change form. Your jaw will split to allow room for 4 great tentacles. All skin will turn to gore, and be shed to reveal new flesh underneath. Then you have ceased to exist, and a mind flayer is born. Words forged in steel. May your actions express the same metal. We must find my kind and be rid of the parasite. It's as simple as that. The first symptoms should have long since started, though. That is what puzzles me.
Hey, fairly straightforward Lae'Zel conversation. But you can see if you select dialogue options with her that show bravery or contempt of your foes and things like that, you're going to get approvals. Anything that delays you from getting to her creche is not necessarily going to get a disapproval, but is just going to be met with disdain. Anything that indicates weakness, she's probably going to disapprove of. So let's do the same thing with Gale.
Go to hell. Ha! You're a good sport. Go to hell. An everyday expression. So trivial it's almost meaningless. But we've seen hell. It's real. And it isn't trivial. Devils, dragons, mind flayers. They used to be abstracts. Pictures on a piece of paper. What a difference a day makes. Now we have tadpoles slithering through our heads like carnivorous feti. That's not abstract. That's the spirit. Let's be up with the lark. Find a healer before the wee one gets hungry.
Okay, Gale you're going to find is often the brooding character. We're going to find out more about why that is as we go. But he can be very, very enthusiastic about things, but also at the same time, for now, he's got something that he's not really telling us, and you can kind of see that with his brooding nature that he has. So now Shadowheart.
What were you two talking about? I see. I'd be careful with Lae'Zel. She's not of this world. I'd be surprised if our interests remained aligned. Let's hope we rapidly find a healer. You seem reliable. I think you know how important it is that we find someone who can cure us. Best if we focus on that. Good. We might even get lucky and find one right away. As I see it, we're overdue some good fortune. Rest well.
There we have an interaction where you can see that your conversations with one of your party characters isn't just going to influence their approval, but possibly everyone's approval. Lae'Zel disapproves of finding a healer. She wants to go to the creche. Everybody else wants to find a human healer, or at least somebody other than going to a creche to find that out. So let's continue on with Asterion, who hasn't been with our party much now that we got Gale. But let's talk and see.
Do you mind? I'm brooding.
That describes Asterion in the most perfect way possible. For now, not much you're going to get from him, but you can continue to try and talk to him.
Yes.
And it will, open up. It will snap him out of his brood and go and be able to talk to him. So it's kind of one of those things when he kind of puts you off at the start, but if you're a little bit persistent about it, you can talk to him. He wants to talk about himself. He's egotistical that way.
Oh, what's to tell? I'm a magistrate back in the city. It's all rather tedious. And clearly the tadpole. If we can't understand it, we'll never control it.
Okay, so there's something slightly different. Asterion doesn't necessarily want to get rid of the tadpole, he just wants to be able to use the tadpole's powers for his benefit. So keep that in mind when you have interactions with him.
We meet again. As predicted, I shall be here in thy camp for whenever thou hast need of my services. A mending of the threads between life and death. Should thou or any of thy compatriots perish, I will cleave soul to body once more. Because it is my calling, there is little else to explain. A matter of coin. Then I shall wait here patiently until it is acquired.
Okay, now you can see the purpose of Withers. Withers is not a guaranteed unlock. If you never make that perception check, or you don't even know it's there, then that little section back there might never open up, and you might never have the opportunity to bring Withers to your camp. If you do, though, Withers offers a gold-based way to revive your characters. We haven't run into it yet, and I'm sure we will at some point. The true death of one of your characters. Again, in D&D, and again, I'm not a 5e rule set expert here. I haven't played a lot of the 5e rule set outside of various different video games. But when your hit points drop to 0, you're not dead. You are unconscious. When those hit points... Now, if you continue taking damage while you're unconscious, or if someone hits you so hard that the amount of hit points it takes off drops you below a certain point below your hit points, then you can perish. And your character is dead at that point. And that's why the game has given you these scrolls of Revivify. Every character is going to get one. And I will split this item here and move one over to Gale. Every character is going to get one, and this allows you to do just what it says, revive a dead companion. So you can cast this scroll, they're going to come back to life with one hit point, and then they can act, they can be healed, just like any other character in the game. Now, this is a spell, and this spell can be learned by magic users to cast that spell without any cost other than just a spell slot. But if you don't have that, it's a fairly high level spell to be able to learn, and maybe you don't want to do it and take up a spell slot to learn it or to prepare it. And in that case, Withers gives you an option of, once you get back to camp, your party member is going to be dead. And you can talk to Withers, you can pay him 200 gold, and you can have him revivify your companion for the price of gold. So it's a way of bringing characters back using gold instead of using spells or spell slots or scrolls. So just one more way of doing it. So again, for those really focused on the gold side of things and the damage dealing, not necessarily spell casting type of, or I shouldn't say damage dealing because spells damage, deal damage as well, but through the fighter and melee based portions of combat, not necessarily interested in spellcasters as much, Withers gives you an opportunity to bring your characters back to life without having to go search for other means to do it. So definitely not a requirement that you unlock him, but unlocking him gives you an opportunity to do things slightly differently. So, and it's always good to have that when you're playing through the game. So keep that in mind. So we've done everything that we've wanted to do here. We've got 40 camp supplies in our inventory, so let's go to the bedroll. and it's going to say, bring up the long rest screen. And now it's going to tell you as you put more camp supplies in here, what level that you are. Okay. So it says to fully rest, you must use enough camp supplies. So let's just start putting camp supplies in here. So 6, 7, 8. Whoops. Sorry, I'm 9, 10. So at 10, nothing else is being given to us, just as partial rest. So it tells you that your hit points and spell slots will only be restored to half of their maximum, and you won't regain any of your short rests. So you can use a partial amount of supplies to rest. You just won't get nearly as many benefits. So let's kind of add in 15, 20. We're still at partial rest. 25. 35. 36. Oop, we don't need that one. 40. It fills up and now it changes to full rest. Okay. So now you can just full rest and it's going to get back all of your hit points and all of your spell slots. And you can see it returns you right back to the spot where you left it. Okay, so you're not missing out on anything by doing that rest. It's just going to take and put you right where you are and take you into camp and kind of go from there. So
one day I'll catch a break. What path lies before me?
Okay, so now you can see that we do have another way to go through a doorway here. We could also head through this heavy oak door here. Let's, it's been a while, so let's save. Let's go out through this side door here.
Over, then through.
And again, just like normal, I'm gonna go into sneak mode. Ah, the other thing to remember here is that once you come out of long rest, any of your persistent spells, like Find Familiar, are not going to be active anymore. So you're going to have to recast them when you come back out. Okay. So now I'll go back into Sneak and I'm going to go back out. I'm going to go out this door over here to this side. Okay. So you kind of get an idea what's in here. We've got some sarcophagus, some sarcophagi, I guess.
Looks like someone wanted to bury their secrets.
Okay, so another successful perception check. And it gives us access to this Book of Dead Gods here.
This book is far lighter than it should be, with such a massive log.
Okay. So, gives you this book, it gives you a couple of different options. You have an Arcana check, which again is going to be Intelligence, which for me is not going to be very good. And a Strength check, which is going to get +1 from Strength. Or I can just leave the book where it is and not deal with it. So, for now I'm going to leave it. I'll kind of give you an idea here of how this works.
Let's see what
So, if you look at the character sheet, so we have an Intelligence check and a Strength check. So Strength is obviously best in our fighter, and Intelligence is obviously best in our wizard. So here let's choose either one of those as our main character. So if Lae'Zel can go up here and pick up the book.
This book is far lighter than it should be, with such a massive log.
So now the Strength check, you see, now she gets +3, and that's because it's all dependent upon the character that you're using to interact with the item. Okay, so don't think that your player character that you set up is the only one who can interact with things throughout the game. Any of your characters can. It doesn't matter who is a party NPC and who is the character that you rolled for yourself. You want to get the best benefits possible from each of the individual characters, and that's going to go towards their strengths. Okay, so use whoever gives you the best options here to be able to deal with something particular like this. Okay, so for now, I'm going to leave that. We're going to come back, and I'm going to continue exploring the room as I was previously. Okay, got a heavy chest here. Turning on some candles. Turning on. I am lighting some candles. Can search a sarcophagus here. Can search this heavy chest. Another glass chalice, another plate. Don't need.
Path lies before me.
Okay, we can head over to this side where we came in.
Time to press ahead.
Okay, just kind of looking around, holding Alt occasionally.
Keep going.
Check and see what's around you. Okay, and then we come up here to this location. Looks rather interesting in here, but doesn't show me a way to get into here. So can I jump? No. Nothing's showing up on jump. And my pathfinding doesn't get out there. So at this point, you can look at your map. There's nowhere to stand out there. Again, we'll come back and deal with that later. So now we can search this sarcophagus. Okay, so shield, ruby ring, don't need the bones, and another soul coin. Again, you can look incredibly valuable, so always make sure we're picking those up. Okay, and now we are going to go deal with this book here.
Keeping low.
And we're going to have Gale try
Not a problem.
an intelligence check.
This book is
First.
far lighter than it should be. With
You can
such
see that there is a
massive lock.
key lock on the front of it. Okay, so there is an option. Again, this is just a straight intelligence check here. There is a spell in tabletop called the knock spell. I actually don't know if it's in early access or not. I don't know what the level of it is to know whether it's going to be available due to the level cap or not. It was in one of the previous Baldur's Gates. It was an option for a wizard to be able to cast a knock spell to open up a lock. In this one, I obviously don't have the knock spell, but let's just see if we can pass the check here. Again, there is an add bonus for that guidance cantrip, so let's see if we can open it up here.
As the lock opens, a loose page comes with it. Magic pulses from the parchment. What was once script is now an obliterated scrawl. You have a sense these are names, a list, but of what?
Okay, so religion is, again, another intelligence check. So we'll go ahead and try this again. And I did not pass.
The longer you stare at the dark and decimated words, the more your head aches. There is no meaning to be found here.
And actually, I skipped over something there. Which I shouldn't have. There was an option, because I have inspiration, there was an option for me there to reuse, or to use an inspiration to do a reroll. And I should have done that, and I just clicked out of it, and skipped past it. It would have been good to explain the mechanic, but it also would have been good just to go through what that book would have meant. But either way, you did see that Gale did get another inspiration. So you can see I'm now up to 2 inspirations. Any character can earn them. They all go into a pool for anybody to use. So
These boots have seen everything.
okay, so now we're going to look up at this heavy oak doors. And remember, I did pick up a heavy key as a story item. These are heavy oak doors. Indicates there's probably a connection there. Okay, guess there is not a connection there. Okay, so now I have to try and lockpick this.
Don't give me trouble now.
Okay, let's... All I'm going to get here is... I've got 1 Thieves' Tool left. At 20, I get a +3 from Dexterity, so let's hope I do okay. Just barely enough. Okay, now you saw that something like Sleight of Hand does not benefit from the guidance cantrip automatically like that. So, didn't have an opportunity to add that bonus in, but I still ended up passing, so... Okay. Opens up into this room. Doesn't look like we have any enemies that are immediately here. So we can, again, take slow steps moving into...
This place wasn't built for the living.
...into the room and start exploring it.
Something good here, I hope. Should mind my step.
Another Scroll of Guiding Bolt, that's good. Scroll of Protection from Good and Evil. Obviously good as well. Nothing... And I just have a habit of lighting these areas up. It's arguable that I probably should not be doing that.
On my way.
Kind of explain that while I'm walking around here. Like we mentioned about the sneaking characteristic, you can see the icon. Light areas, if you move into, is going to put you into... See how it's lit up? It's entirely light. And here it's entirely dark. Darkness helps contribute to the 2-hit chance. So if you're in darkness and somebody else is not, and they don't have a way to overcome that darkness, then it can lead to them not being able to hit you as easily during combat. So arguably you shouldn't be lighting up a lot of these areas if you have a way on your own to be able to counteract that darkness and not penalize your own hit rolls. But again, I have a habit of always lighting these areas up. Okay. So it looks like some jewelry, things like that we've found in here. Nothing else that we found anywhere else up to this point. You see there doesn't appear to be anything out here on your map or anything like that. We do have a door here. And we have another door here, and you can see that there's obviously another entrance just outside this door, because this is a waypoint telling you that it's going to lead you back outside, which is where these quests are taking place. So this is obviously leading us back toward the entrance. And if you remember from looking at, or that interaction with the door previously, there's probably enemies closer to that entrance. So if we're going to go this way, you kind of want to be a little bit more circumspect about how you open that door and how you go through it. For now, let's try and go through the ornate door this way. Or let's try and open it up anyway. And see what we have this way. Okay, so this put us in an entirely different area here.
Nothing.
All clear.
Okay, which started an autosave. You can see that there are some vision cones of some things, some enemies out here that are automatically hostile. So this is where we came in, right through here. So this door here is going to take us out the other way, but you can see it's locked, and we don't appear to have a way to open it.
Keep looking. Something's up.
Okay, so there's...
This place is falling apart. Could have happened by itself.
Okay, and you can actually kind of see some outlines, and you can mouse over them a little bit. Probably shouldn't be able to do this, but Mari here, looks like there's a magic user. Sephri here. Looks like a dwarven or halfling cleric maybe down here. And we do have a couple of what look like fighters, ranged fighters here and here. And there might be another one over here in this area. But when we try and interact with the door, I don't know why. I was getting that icon. Okay. So all you can really do here is light up some candles. And that's about it. Okay, but when you get close to the door, you can see that there's an X across the icon. So when you try and open it,
No handle. How does it open?
no lock, no handle. You could try and attack it, but it says lockpicking is impossible.
Well, it's a crypt, ain't
So
it?
that indicates
to be
normally
expected?
that the door is barred from that side, and you can't, or from our side, and you can't get into it. But once you clear this room from the other way, then you can probably get into this room from that way. So kind of indicates to you that this is kind of a back way to get in. We came in the back way and not the front way, so to speak, of this area. Okay. So again, just looking at where we are. Yep, see, it creates this additional map over here, over to the side, that you got teleported to, so to speak. So let's kind of go this way.
Breathe deep and move.
See what happens when we go through these doors. Okay. So remember that the enemies we were talking about were near that door. So that is probably the main way that you would come in, is by going in through that way. So that means this is probably the way out of this place. So
Don't want to draw any attention.
just trying to get her hidden so that she would come back into the group. For some reason, she's leaving herself behind out here. Oh. Okay. Get everybody grouped back up.
How
much farther can I go?
And we'll go look at this room a little bit closer. Okay. So we do have a vase here that we can try and loot.
Here we go.
Okay, so I failed a perception check with her. So I'm going to toggle my group mode. I'm going to move her back out of the way, and I'm going to move one of my other characters into that same spot. Failed that perception check.
What am I to do?
Let's try it with Shadowheart.
Best avoid that
Okay.
trap.
So she passed her perception check, and this is why it's when you're exploring, if you get into an area that looks like it might be trapped or might be need more exploration, you can take your party out of group mode and you can kind of move them one at a time over to a particular area and see if any of them are better at passing a perception check than others. So here it brings up something about gas pits. It says that they can spew surfaces out of them or clouds of some sort of some type, and it says that you can't cover them with sufficiently heavy objects. Okay. It's also showing as a trap and showing that you can disarm it. So if you have trap disarm kits, you can try and disarm it. Now, you can also massively fail that check as well. So try not to, if you want to disarm it, certainly try it, but that does not mean that you are going to be able to get by safely if you then fail that check. Okay. So there are a few other things here. Just going to pick Lae'Zel for now. And I'm going to try a few things here. I haven't really tried a few of these options in the past. Let me see if I can throw this candelabra. I can. Okay. So, threw the candelabra on top of the gas vent. So Lae'Zel has the strength to be able to do it. The gas vent did take some damage, but not enough to cause it to trigger, so to speak. So now that gas vent is covered up, so whatever was going to happen there is not going to happen. It's going to be blocked from doing any of its particular damages that it might do. Okay, so now you can continue exploring on. Come around this way. We've got a vase here, nothing in it. Okay, so she failed another perception check right over here, so I can try with somebody else.
Without delay.
Okay, looks like we've got another gas vent here. Okay, so it looks like she can't get over there and pick that up and throw it on top of it from that angle. So we can kind of look around and see if there's anything else that we might be able to pick up and throw. Okay, so there's another perception check. So this gargoyle head is a trap. So this whole room is just trapped to Kingdom Coming Back. Okay, but let's see if we can find a way to deal with this.
I know what to do.
Okay. So I threw the candelabrum. So now let's throw it again. Now let's not. Let's move around this way. Now try and throw it. Okay. So The candelabrum is now over that gas vent, so... And it's also in line with that gargoyle head. So maybe whatever comes out of that is going to get blocked by that candelabrum. Now we can continue on with the searching. Another gargoyle head there. She can just pick it up. She's the one carrying that stuff anyway. Another gargoyle head here. Okay, so she failed a perception check here. Let's move her out of the way.
Let's get going.
Bring up somebody else and see if they can pass that check.
That's curious.
Okay. So it looks like she passed 2 perception checks here. So she found another gas vent here. And she found a button on this side of the column. Okay. So, again, just kind of opening things up here and taking a look and seeing what's there. So, let's see if I can
moving ahead.
Go over here. Okay, caused too much damage and it broke. Right? Let's go over here and see if we can open this sarcophagus. Then. Okay.
Need to find a way forward.
Okay, a couple more candelabra. Okay, so a failed perception check there.
Oh, enough waiting. I crave blood.
A second failed perception check.
There's no time to waste. This way. Have to keep pushing.
A third failed perception check. So Gale is our last chance here. To see whatever is here. And he got it. So you can see it's another gas vent. Okay, and these
Will be
we can get Lae'Zel to throw a candelabra on top of. Let's we've got 2 choices for candelabra. Now remember, when we threw this one twice, I was able to throw it twice without breaking it. So I could maybe throw this candelabra over to here and then maybe throw it again. And then this one could be used to go to here. But that one might be better, might be something better used if there's something else over here. So let's continue exploring a little bit before we try and open up more of this. Just some jugs.
Trap.
Another gargoyle head. That gargoyle head is maybe going to be shooting right through here. Okay, short sword. I didn't mean to put it in her inventory, but oh well.
Watch how you go.
Okay, found another gas trap. Another gargoyle head here. You can see there's another one over here.
Time to press ahead.
A glaive. Interesting. Haven't seen one of those in a while. Ring mail. And this is the other benefit of the inventory system. You can see if picking it up and sending it somewhere is going to encumber somebody, you're going to get these icons to let you know that picking it up or sending it to that person is going to encumber them. So it's just one other way that the game tries to help out with your inventory management.
Step carefully.
Another gas
There's a
trap.
trap.
Okay. So, looks like we found a whole bunch of these traps here.
Swift as my feet can carry me. These boots have seen everything.
Okay. And there's...
Should mind my step.
not enough space up here, but you can also see that there is another gargoyle ahead right here. Okay, so let's see what we can do about some of these other traps. We've already got these two covered up. Let's kind of group everybody up and send everybody back here.
At the ready. Can't slow down.
Go on a group mode again. I'm going to take Lae'Zel and I'm going to move her back in here and I'm going to see what other options I might have for dealing with some of these traps. I'm using Lae'Zel because she has the highest strength score, so her having the highest strength means she can throw things the farthest. Okay, so let's go try and throw this candelabrum over to here. Okay, and let's try and throw this one. Actually, you know, we have a wooden crate here. How about we try... How about we pick it up? Okay. We'll go stand over here. Let's see if we can drop this. Okay, so it did drop it right underneath of her. So let's pick this up again. We'll go
one true way.
I don't want to disarm. Just going to get to this spot, go back to her inventory, and drop this item. Okay, so again, she doesn't want to drop it directly on top of it. So let's see if we can throw this item on top of here without it destroying it. Nope, it destroyed it. Okay. So we can try again. Nope. Alright, so our option here is to throw this candelabrum on top of the bed. Okay. So, other items that are in here, the vase has 4, these all have 4 hit points, so if you throw it one time, they're going to get destroyed. So, what you've basically done here is covered up a vent here, 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 and here. You now have a pathway around this outside that might be clear if something happens to trigger these vents. Now, you still have to worry about this gargoyle head is blocked, this one's blocked, this one you're still going to have to worry about, and this one you're still going to have to worry about. But you've kind of opened up a safe area here, so to speak. And this is how you want to be thinking about Dungeons and Dragons exploration in general. Okay? You want to be thinking about it in terms like this,
Efficient path.
of getting to safe spaces and finding different ways to look at areas and things like, and try to anticipate what might happen when you do something. Okay, so let's go up to this door and see if it opens, and it does, because that is the heavy key that we picked up. It unlocks the ancient door here. So now we have a way in and out of this particular area without having to go through the hatch that we were over there. It's just another way into this area. So let's do something else here.
One day
I haven't actually done this before. So let's see. This is going to lead us back to the bedroom. And now we have this door here. I haven't actually done it this way before. So this might be kind of interesting.
Action, not reaction.
But let's see what happens. Okay, let's put Lae'Zel right up front there.
Long way to go still.
Gonna move Shadowheart over here to this side. Gale is again gonna move. Oops. Supposed to be Gale that was selected. Now let's see if
Long road ahead.
I can attack this door and break it down. And while we're at it, let's put everybody
Enough waiting.
into
I crave blood.
Wits and blades, always sharp.
sneak mode.
Robes will get dirty. What a gimbal
Because their cones, their vision cones, looks like they're all facing kind of toward this door. We might be able to get off sneak attacks this way, but let's kind of see what happens. Let's actually move our Raven over here as well.
Looking ahead.
Okay, go into hiding,
Time to skulk
move
about.
back here, and let's attack this Raven. Thank you.
Something's rotten about this.
And let's attack this door.
Well, it's a crypt, ain't it? What you expected?
Okay. So it looks like somebody came to kind of investigate that. Yeah, see, they're kind of moving around a little bit.
See anything?
Nothing.
All clear.
See, they got a little suspicious about that. So now that they're all calmed down again.
Can't risk being in open view.
Okay, it doesn't look like they're anxious to open that door for me, which is kind of what I was hoping.
Keep looking. Something's up.
This place is falling apart. Could have happened by itself.
No such thing as coincidences when there's loot to be had.
Out of sight.
Okay, so the next attack is going to have a very good chance of opening that door. So we want to be able to open that door and immediately go back into hiding, because you can see that the magic user is right next to the door. Okay, so if we can go into hiding, then maybe we can get off another attack once that door opens before turn-based combat starts.
What are the others doing up there?
Maybe we should go take a look.
Okay.
Could be a trap.
Something's coming out of the crypt!
Just keep your eyes peeled.
Okay, so it did get off another attack. Now you can see here at this point that rolled for initiative. There's 5 of them out here, but only my ranger is in combat at this particular time. So if I switch to Lae'Zel, you can see there's a vision cone right here. So if Lae'Zel moves forward any, she's going to immediately pop into that vision cone and going to get seen. Okay? So what we can do is maybe get her into a position where she can do some damage here. And we might not be able to do it. But let's see if we can, if she has a ranged attack that she can do a ranged attack against Mari here. This is now going to put her in combat, but it's a free attack basically.
Out of the shadows.
Okay. So that put Lae'Zel into combat now. So now Shadowheart can attack either one of them. So actually Mari's ranged. Okay, big hit. Was good. And now Gale. Now Gale has interesting opportunity here. He can maybe try and do some area denial stuff, but he also has the opportunity now because you can see that we've got some people bunched up here. Okay, so what options do we want to do here? Acid is going to create an acid surface. Thunder's not going to create any surface. The others are all going to create surfaces, okay, that cause damage over time and persist. So Chromatic Orb is kind of a damage dealing as well as area denial type of spell if you want it to be. It doesn't have to be area denial, but it can be. So I think we are going to want to create an area of denial here so that anybody who walks into it or stands in it is going to be taking damage. So let's try and create an acid surface here, and let's just give us the option and see what this is going to do. Okay, so you can see if you cast it right here, it's going to create a surface on that area right there. So anybody that walks through that area or comes into it to attack any of our characters is going to be stepping in it and is going to be taking damage. Okay. So how about we just try and cast it? Actually, let's cast it at him. It'll create a surface that blocks off that area pretty well. Okay, perfect. We killed one of the fighters. The magic user is now acid damaged. So, and now everybody's back in combat except for our Raven. So our Raven now has an opportunity here, and now that that vision cone is gone, the Raven can move farther out without getting detected. We might have an opportunity to move our Raven with his free action here to various different spots. So it doesn't looks like all of these areas here, it doesn't look like there's going to be detection, which is kind of weird. I don't know if that's a bug or not. But I could fly over and possibly get in a position to attack Mari. But let's look real quick again and see what the order is here. So Sefri, the magic user, is going to be attacking next. And then what is maybe a human cleric will be after that. And then Mari. And then Torga over here on this side. So let's maybe get into a position where I can damage the... Actually, and I don't have So I still have an attack with Jorvalen left here. So let's go ahead and take care of her actions next. So I'm gonna cast Hunter's Mark.
First step is the hardest.
Mage, we're going to try and take a shot here, and hopefully we can kill the magic user. Oh, 25. That was a huge critical hit. A huge critical hit. Okay, so now... Whoops. We know that next is going to be... Side, who's this target farther down here. Let's see if we can take out Mari, though. That's probably a priority here. Let's see if we can fly. He can avoid the acid by flying over here. See if we can... It's going to cause 3 points of damage on an 88% chance to hit. Now my Raven's in battle, and see, just like that, because of prudent planning, we were able to whittle down our potential opponents from 5 to 2 without them even getting a chance to attack. Okay, so now Jorvalen's turn. Let's go ahead and end her turn. Oops.
Another fight. Let's go.
Okay, that also showed you something else that was great about this, is that moving the Raven out here, meaning that was the only one of our party that was immediately visible. And that means that the attack from Torga, which was an ensnaring strike, which is very dangerous, went after the Raven and not against one of our party members. So those conjured animals help take attacks that might otherwise be directed at you. So another good use for them. Just something to keep in mind as you go through the game. So let's see if by moving my ranger to here... Okay, so they can get off. Let's first reapply Hunter's Mark. We've got 18. So let's see if we can...
That should work.
Okay. That was probably bad because Jorvalen has no movement left. I didn't expect that when I didn't plan for that.
Shouldn't have made me your enemy.
Okay, caused 12 points of damage, which is good, but there's a problem. And that she's clogging up the doorway. So Gale... isn't probably going to be able to do anything here.
Good move.
Yeah, well, can do it. Or gets too far. Can cast those against Torga, though. So let's get that off. All 3 projectiles. Caused a lot of damage, only 2 points left. So we'll end his turn. Now we come up to a problem, because see, Jorvalen's now clogging the door. And I don't think I have enough to get me past the acid. Oh, I do. Okay, that's good. Let's get her into the fight. Oh. She can't go that way. Let's see if... Get her out here. Yes. Okay. So let's see if we can... Only a 30% chance to hit because of target obscured by shadows, which again is bad. So still got some movement left here. So let's do this. Let's dash. Get us right up next to the target. Now she has no action left, but we can action surge. Okay, and let's see if we can now move up and take Hasid. Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, wow. It was planned well. It just wasn't executed. She rolled a 1, a critical miss. Oh boy. Tragic. Tragic. He's gonna rage. Going to attack, which was a big hit. Let's go to my raven. Let's fly over there. See if we can. 60% chance to hit. Okay, perfect. At least that worked. Now, Shadowheart isn't going to be able to do anything, I don't think. Oh, the acid surface is gone, but still can't get by Jorvalen without jumping. So let's... can't move. Can't jump because she doesn't have enough movement points left, so... I doubt I can get a cantrip off here, but maybe I can. Oh, I could. Perfect. Failed the saving throw and died. So Lae'Zel took a big hit there, but everybody survived.
Let's move. Swift as my feet can carry me.
Okay, so let's do some... Actually, let's save while we're here. Okay, and let's do some looting and then we'll level everybody up. So, basic poison, nice, short bows, going to Lae'Zel. Torches we don't need, alchemist fire, pretty nice. I'll take care of that for now. Magic user, scroll of burning hands. And a book. Okay. Okay. Wooden barrel we can check. Oh, and that's something else I didn't think about. And this is me not following my own advice. There was an oil barrel right there. Those are like red barrels in video games that you see all the time. When you shoot this, it's going to let out an oil slick and possibly explode and cause damage. So again, something I should have been thinking of, just wasn't when I went into it. So, but another way to environmentally cause damage to people. So a great club, interesting. Couple of javelins. I don't find them to be very useful. Hide armor. And leather bracers. Okay. Now, anything else in here? There's another room in here. A book. Hey, not much to it. Still worth a bit of gold, though. Vases to check. Vases, vases. Tomato. Ancient scroll. Interesting. Okay. We finished that out.
If not over.
Now, looks like we do have a locked door over here.
Light on my feet.
Have an ornate door here, which leads into what looks like another room on the other side.
Have to keep going.
And we have another room over here. And if you look, this kind of looks very similar to the camp that we were at earlier. And that's because the camp kind of uses some recycled areas from the game to create the camp locations. So it's very easy for them to reuse a location like this, slightly modify it to give it some more areas and make it your camp. So, okay, so now a bunch of books in here, and again, books, you can read them, but for the most part, and the red icon down here, bookmark sort of thing, indicates that there's more than one page in it. You can move back and forth between those pages. Again, opens up some interesting dialogue options and fleshing out of the game. You don't have to read these at all. Some of them, though, will open up knowledge that you can use to complete puzzles and things like this throughout the game. So if you have the time and you're interested in it, certainly do it. If you don't ever read a book, nothing bad's ever going to happen to you. You just might be able to not fully, have access to everything in the easiest ways possible. Okay? And you can see these books are randomly generated. You get multiple different books. The only reason I'm picking them up really is honestly because of the gold. They don't weigh all that much for the amount of money that you get in gold pieces for selling them. So they're just a lightweight way to get more gold for your characters once you get to a point where you can sell all of it.
These boots have seen everything.
You do not recognize the language on the plaque.
Gold, always nice.
How much farther can I go? What's that?
Okay, there's a lever here. Light up the rest of this real quick. Now, I'm going to move everybody back out here.
Forward.
Just to be on the safe side. I'm going to ungroup my party and I'm going to take my ranger back in here.
Lies before me.
I'm going to see
Best be on my way.
if there are any perception checks around this chest. There don't appear to be. So, wondering what that lever is doing. If I zoom in on the chest, I don't see anything seriously out of the ordinary as far as traps go. Okay, so let's just try and loot the chest. Okay, so the chest was not trapped. Nothing in it that I want. Now we can try this lever and see what the lever's going to open. Honestly, I can't remember if I've done this or not. So let's just see what happens.
What was that?
Okay, so something opened. You heard it. We just can't see what it opened. So this is one of the other things that's great about this game, is that you might have to backtrack or look back at areas you previously were in to see what has changed when you find levers. like that. So it's always kind of interesting to kind of see how the game mechanics work and how it's going to explore everything, the things you're going to have to go through to try and find how to open stuff up, things like that. So again, we'll just finish this off. Okay. Okay, let's just check and make sure Lae'Zel's not near her encumbrance level. And you can see we picked up 4 different types of books. Just cleaning out some inventory space over here. Okay. Alright, so let's... Looks like we've explored here. Doesn't appear anything else on the mini-map. So let's group back up and let's do a level up here. Okay, so level 3 is a very interesting level for a few different reasons, but especially for Ranger. But your classes are going to get some benefits in this level that are very, very important. So, obviously, maximum hit points. I've unlocked a level 1 spell slot to use, but now I get to pick a subclass. And this is... It gives you different pathways to direct your characters down that are going to focus on different abilities that your character can have. So, hunters are really your damage dealing subclass. If you look at the options that it gives you, Colossus Slayer does extra damage if the target is below its hit point maximum once per turn. So anything that has been dealt damage, you're going to deal an extra 1d8 toward when you attack it. It's a very, very powerful ability. Giant Killer basically is anything that's large in size or bigger. You can use a reaction to make a melee attack. So if they move past you and you get a reaction normally, then you can use that to do a full-on melee attack to do it. I don't find it very useful. There are large creatures in this game, and we'll see some of them when we get a little bit farther through this, but this applies to everybody that's damaged. This only applies to a very specific subset of creatures in the game. Wordbreaker is basically if you get 2 characters that are standing too close, or they're close to each other, and you're also within range of them, then you can attack them both in quick succession. Very, very situational. The game tends to not group their characters up very much because it doesn't want to get hit with AoE spells, same as we would do. So I find that to be almost useless. But we'll explore the other one, Beastmaster, to follow up on. This basically gives you a new feature. You can summon a companion to fight along with you as an action, just like your summon familiar. You can gain a beast companion that does the same thing that your familiar does. I'm not really interested very much in having an entire menagerie of pets following me around. They are very, very useful, but I don't need a whole bunch of them when I consider that Colossus Slayer is just a supremely overpowered ability. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me not to take it. Okay, so as far as the spell selection here, again, you can customize and you can pick which spell you want to choose. I don't want to pick Jump, but now I have, again, the same options to choose another first level spell here. Again, Speak with Animals, like I went through earlier, very useful. I'm just not going to select it in this one. So the 2 healing spells I'm not going to pick again. It's really down to Hail of Thorns or Fog Cloud as to how I want to play this playthrough. And I think I'm probably going to go with Hail of Thorns here. And you can choose to replace one of your 2 previously learned spells with another one, but there's no need. Hunter's Mark and Ensnaring Strike are just way too powerful. So I'm going to... Do I want to do that? I do. Speak with Animals is so much more interesting throughout the game. It's just so interesting being able to talk to the animals and gather information from them. See, you got me in a quandary here now. What should I do? You know what? I'm going to play this like I want to play this. So I'm going to pick Speak with Animals here. I really do like the interactions with the animals, but again, entirely up to you. Feel free to not choose it and pick some. Everybody goes for the damage dealing stuff, so. Okay, so there's one. Lae'Zel's moving from 2 to 3. Another big hit point jump, and the subclasses here for her are really, for a fighter, are, do you want to keep on with your damage dealing stuff, or do you want to move into spell casting of some sort? The differences are fairly profound when you get to this. So the first is superiority dice I'm going to get here. The superiority dice are each of these specific maneuvers that you can do, you have 4 uses with them, so to speak. So in this I could use 4 menacing attacks or 4 pushing attacks or 4 combinations of any of these 3. Okay. So menacing attack is, it deals an extra d8, it possibly frightens the target. Frighten is very interesting as a possible side effect. Pushing attack is very situational, but can be very useful, especially if you're fighting enemies on higher ground. You can get them in a location where possibly pushing them back is going to knock them off of a high building or a high cliff or something, either kill them outright or cause falling damage. Rally is basically a hit point booster, is basically what it is. Riposte is whenever an attack misses, you then get the opportunity to spend a superiority die to retaliate. It's a reaction, so you need to toggle reaction during your turn, and if it's on and this opportunity pops up, somebody attacks you and misses, then you will automatically spend a superiority die to react. Trip attack is exactly what it sounds like. It just knocks them prone. They have to spend movement points to get back up. And disarming is exactly what it sounds like again. I don't find it to be very useful throughout the game. If you do disarm somebody, they just have to spend an action to pick it up, which means they miss their attack on you, which can be good, but I think some of the others are better when dealing with neutralizing specific enemies. So Frighten, I'm going to keep. I think it's a great secondary effect that happens. Riposte, I don't normally use very often, but I think I am going to use it this time. And I'm going to unselect Rally. Do I want to do Trip or do I want to do Pushing Attack? Actually, I think I'm going to do Rally. I'm going to keep it that way. So you see I get Menacing Attack as here, and it comes in both ranged and melee versions of the same thing. So, and then Rally here is basically your hit point regain type of thing. So I think that's some good options for her to take. Gale. For here, it's really opening up spell slots and continuing on with his progression. So remove these two, and you can pick any of these level 1 or level 2 spells. Now, level 2 spells, you see there's a lot of them. And there are some of the crowd favorites. Web is obviously a very good crowd control spell, especially because anybody that's in a web, they can't move, but they also are at any rolls against those creatures have advantage, which is very, very powerful in this game. So web is just one of those things that when it pops up, you just take it. It's way too effective as a crowd control spell not to use it. Scorching Ray is, again, kind of like Magic Missile. You can put out 3 rays. Each ray is going to hit. They do not have a guaranteed chance to hit, though, just like Magic Missile does. You roll 2 hit chances against an enemy. Ray of Enfeeblement is great. It only works against one target, though, but if you have one big, heavy hitting target, Ray of Enfeeblement is great to cast on them, because they're basically doing half damage on anything that they're using strength to cause damage against you on. Mirror Image, Invisibility can be very useful. Invisibility much more than Mirror Image. But I think there are ways to kind of game the system a little more to make invisibility not as useful, so I don't tend to do it. Hold Person, if they fail their saving throw, it's very powerful. Against human targets, it's just overpowered, but they have to be able to fail that saving throw. So again, I tend not to go for it very much, but it is very, very powerful. Detect Thoughts is more of it opens up additional dialogue options throughout the game for you. As you are able to interact with NPCs, you can detect their thoughts. So it's going to have other options for you to interact with characters to get more beneficial things. So very good, not something I would normally waste a damage dealing magic user spell slot on. But is what it is. Darkness is kind of like your fog spells. It basically creates an area that anybody within it is blind and heavily obscured. Blur is a defensive spell that basically everybody attacking you has disadvantage against you. Again, not something I normally tend to deal with. Crown of Madness is really funny. If they fail their saving throw, then they're going to turn on their own allies and they're going to go attack them. And it's kind of funny for 3 turns watching the enemy kind of chew themselves apart. Cloud of Daggers, however, is the one that I'm going to choose. It is an area denial spell, just like your Chromatic Orb is when it leaves a surface behind. It just does a lot more damage for anybody moving through it. 4d4 of slashing damage is just very, very powerful. So it's the one I'm going to pick. However, Blindness and Melf's Acid Arrow are also very, very useful throughout the game. I'm just choosing not to use them at this point. So now I'm going to customize my prepared spells again, and I'm going to get rid of Fog Cloud, and I'm going to get rid of Grease for now, just so I can put Cloud of Daggers back in. Actually, I'll put that, then Sleep, and Web. Okay, so my damage dealing spells here, my area denial spells after that. Okay, and I think that's good. So done and accept. Okay, so Shadowheart.
Let's get on with it.
Did not level up. Interesting. I've never had that happen before. Okay, so there are slight differences. I've just never noticed it before. I guess I've never had anybody that's come that close. So there are slight differences. In the leveling requirements for each one, which makes perfect sense. There is in tabletop, so I just never experienced it before. So she still needs 7 points to level up. So easy enough to deal with. So Lae'Zel right now is kind of hurt, but she can spend a superiority die to heal herself up. We can also take a short rest and get her some of her hit points back. We also have options to spend spell slots to do it. I'm just not interested in wasting spells at this point to try and heal Lae'Zel, so I'm just going to... That was interesting, never mind. I'm just going to take a short rest, and she comes completely back up. So, let's go back out here to this room where we came from.
Moving in.
And let's look around here. So, this ornate door still goes into that other room over there. And again, we're looking around to see if there was anything that became apparent because of us hitting that lever. Okay, doesn't look like for here. The ornate door is still
Cursed to put my hands on everything.
pickable. It's still locked.
Should mind my step.
So
Moving ahead.
let's go back here.
At the ready.
Let's head back through this door again. We're just going to explore around here and see if anything else opened up
Moving ahead.
for us around here, because honestly, I don't remember
Time to press
if I've gotten that lever before. So, oh, no, that was already open. This was just the back way that leads into this area out here. So we'll just visit it again, make sure that nothing else has appeared. Can't go anywhere else, right?
Can't slow down.
Okay.
Should mind my step.
Okay, it doesn't look like there's anything in particular.
On my way.
That's happened.
Swift as my feet can carry me. Never wanted the easy path. With haste.
Okay.
One day I'll catch a break.
Okay, so I don't see anything off the top of my head here.
Forward.
Go back into this room here. See if anything is opened. I'm actually going to toggle group mode and just take
Let's see.
her in here again. I know what causes these traps to trigger, but...
The text on the plaque is a mystery to you.
Again, nothing outstanding that I can see
Have to keep going.
that's showing up for what happens. I'm actually kind of interested. In what that does.
This is a story.
Okay. So...
How much farther can I go? Light on my feet.
Okay. So it must just unlock. No? This was already here.
These boots have
Need to
seen
go
everything.
back and get our other characters. I forgot I was not in group mode. Just group everybody back up and we'll continue on.
Ready.
If I missed something, I missed something. I'm sure I'll hear about it in the comments.
Need to find a way forward. Seems simple enough.
Alright. Get back in here.
Breathe deep and move.
Alright, so now we're going to position ourselves for here. So let's all go into sneak mode. We're gonna move Lae'Zel over to one side of the door. We'll move Shadowheart over to the other side of the door. Keep Gale out of the way, that's fine. And now we'll use Valin to open up the door. Okay. Nothing in particular here. But I will just explore with her, just in case.
What path lies before me? What's in here?
Right, doesn't look like there's a whole bunch of opportunities in here. There's a mirror that we can take. Interesting. There is a bed. Let's see what this mirror is worth. Or not. And there's a chest. With just candles. Very useful. Okay. Oh, there were some thieves' tools on the ground over here.
For more?
Take those. Again, very useful. Orin just had torches on him. Okay.
Best be on my way. Another step forward.
So let's go over here and see if we can
I'll give it a shot.
pick this ornate door. Okay, let's group
slow
up
down.
first.
How much farther can I go?
We'll see if we can
Wonder what's
lockpick
past
this door. So I've got 2 sets of thieves' tools. We'll add in the guidance cantrip. It's a hefty DC here. Good roll. Good roll. Okay. So, again, it's unlocked, so let's go ahead and kind of set ourselves up for entering an unknown room.
Cloak and dagger. My favorite.
I'm gonna move Gale out of the way.
Let's not get caught off guard.
And we will open the door. Okay. Leads us into this room. And it looks like we have an enemy here. And that appears to be it. Okay. So, Andorn is facing away from us. He appears to be focused on this door here pretty seriously. And if you remember who Andorn is, we went up to that door, and as we approached it, they asked how everything was going outside. This is the other side of that door. Okay, so let's see if we can actually perform a sneak attack here. So let's see if we can move into this room. Great. And see if Andorn's going to move or not. If he's not going to move, we're going to sneak up right behind him. Execute a sneak attack. Looks like he is not going to move. So we are going to execute a sneak attack here. You can see that we have advantage on this attack, which is very, very useful. And we're going to do 4 to 9 with our main hand. So let's see if we can get a good hit here. Perfect. That's exactly what you want to see. So loot. Picked up a bandit's key. That key is probably going to unlock this door, which it did. And this is the main entrance that we were talking about earlier, so...
Breathe deep and move.
Work my way back over here, pick everybody up. Come back in.
I don't need any attention right now. Still in shadow.
Okay. So, get out of hide here and bring everybody in.
Alright. What now?
Shadowheart is now leveled up again. So with clerics, again, you unlock the level 2 spell slots. You learn all of these spells. You just have to figure out which ones you want to prepare. And because of her trickery domain, she now got mirror image and pass without trace as portions of her, because of her trickery domain subclass feature. So she got these 2 spells as part of it automatically, but again, just like everything else, we've got to look at what we can do to customize the spells that we have. So her second level spells, in my mind, are fairly benign, with the exception of a couple of things. First, I'm going to get rid of command and put silence in. Silence is very, very useful. It's got a big range. It's an 18-meter range. So even if you get somebody inside it, they can't move out of it within 1 turn. So it neutralizes magic users really, really well. Then as far as the healing goes, restoration is important. I just don't tend to use it very often. But aid and prayer of healing are the 2 big replacement spells, I guess, for healing. Prayer of healing is anybody you can see gains 5 to 19, so it's a direct replacement for healing word. So that's always a good level 2 version to put in. And then aid is everybody in your party gets 5 hit points. Can be useful. I just tend not to use it. I do a straight replacement here. I keep cure wounds on for my individual going up and touch somebody for a large amount of healing, and then prayer of healing for anybody I can see that's distance. Is basically kind of how I break those 2 things down. Protection from poison is great. As you've seen, there's a lot of poison in this game. I just, again, tend not to use it. And I might actually... No, I think I'm gonna leave Bane in there. Actually, I might. No, I'm gonna leave Bane in there for now, and then we'll we'll see if we want to do something different with that coming up. Okay.
At the ready.
What comes now? I must keep going.
A wizard, not a cat burglar.
Alright, just getting everybody back together here.
With haste.
Okay. And my raven is still hiding.
No one stopped me yet.
Okay. Now we can go look around, see what else we have around here. To loot. Cutting board. There's a plaque on the wall, which we'll deal with here in a second.
Ancient, indecipherable text covers the plaque.
My faith.
A dead tongue. Whoever worshipped here must be
Ancient,
long gone.
indecipherable text covers the plaque. Ancient, indecipherable
just wanted to check something there.
covers the plaque.
Whoever worshipped here must be long
Dead
gone.
tongue. Whoever worshipped here must be long gone.
Okay, just looting the standard stuff that you do every time after you finish an encounter.
If not over.
Looking around, seeing what's here, loot everything that you can. Gold's always nice. Cup doesn't have as much weight. Oh, glass chalice and a plate that's worth a lot of money. Interesting. Okay, so we've got a bunch of things down here laying around on this table. If you right click, you see they're all camp supplies, but you can't send them directly to camp. You have to pick them up. So what I normally do is just leave this open
Might be useful.
when I do this.
I'll take that. Don't mind if I do.
And then you can go to your inventory and you can send these items to camp. Because again, there's no reason for them to be taking up your inventory at this point. So, and I'm going to send these items over to Lae'Zel as well. Okay, I think that's good. So let's see, are there anything else? Got a trunk here. Quill. Candles. Some shelves we can search. Nothing else up there. Can light a campfire. Interesting. Okay, so you can look over here. Various things laying around. Nothing, anything that you really want to pick up or need to pick up.
What's inside?
Okay.
Wonder if the gods are watching me. Never wanted
And
the
we
easy
already
path.
looted him and we know where that door goes. Okay. So nothing else down here.
Have to keep going. These boots have seen everything.
Okay. So it looks like we've looted.
On my way.
We've opened up and or looted everything around here except for that final room. So let's head back and deal with this particular room. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to toggle group mode, have my ranger go in here.
Should mind my step.
Okay. Again, remembering where some of these heads are, if arrows or something shoot out of them, coming through here and through here, so we don't want to be standing anywhere in the line of fire from those on either side. There's one there, so you want to stand behind the column, another one here. Okay, so it looks like the head of this sarcophagus is a fairly safe place.
The text on the plaque is a mystery to you.
So now you can loot this sarcophagus. Okay, and this brings you into turn-based mode automatically when you do it. You know, it's going to explain why, but this is really, every turn represents 6 seconds of real time. And you'll see kind of what happens here now that we're going to go into that. Oh, it didn't do it. Oh, yeah, it did. So it triggered the 2 traps here, which put grease out on the floor. And these did not trigger, and because there's no fire near these grease spots here, none of it ignited. So everything is still perfectly safe to walk. If you walk around on it, your momentum's going to slow and you could possibly fall to the ground. But for now, everything is perfectly fine, and none of these gargoyle heads can see us. But let's try and move back out of this area.
Time to press ahead.
Okay, so nothing shot at us. And I wonder if that lever might have turned off the gargoyle heads or something like that, maybe. Because normally the gargoyle heads are going to be firing every 6 seconds, and they shoot fireballs, which tends to light all this on fire. And the grease, you know, maybe it's because I'm still in turn here. So let's move my raven back out of the way as well.
No time to
It might be because of that. They haven't fired yet.
Eager for battle.
Okay, so still nothing.
I wonder what the next move is.
There they go. So yeah, once I ended my turn, then they began firing. So we can leave turn-based mode and just let this continue how it normally would. But see, that grease was persistent there. It's going to stay there, and we'll watch it. The fire surface is going to stay for 1 turn. And then see it turns back into grease. So if you hadn't covered up these traps, they would be continuously spewing grease on the ground and continually being lit on fire throughout this entire time. And this whole place just turns into a huge inferno. And it's impassable. At least now with this whole side being grease-free, you can actually time your movements and enter into turn-based mode. You don't have to let the game put you in it. You could go in it yourself and move characters individually through these areas to get past it. So you don't really need to do any of that now because I've looted that. But
Still breathing,
let's
despite everything.
rearrange that. Whoa, 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 whoa. Where are you going? Okay. And let's look at what we looted. Okay. So the Watcher's Guide here is a spear, which I don't tend to use very often, but which can be very proficient weapons. Actually, let's send this to Lae'Zel and we'll look at her inventory. The Everburn Blade is 2d6 slashing compared to 1d8 two-handed. You can also use a spear single-handedly, so you can use it with a shield. It's it says that you can't dual wield with it, but you can also throw it. But whenever it and it does unlock a proficiency here, which is rush attack, I believe is what that is. But you can see that it has a special ability, and that whenever you make an attack with it and it misses, then your next attack against that particular target has advantage. So there's a bonus with it that for some characters may make it, you know, more interesting to use. For me, it's not something that I'm going to use. I prefer to be dual wielding with my scimitar and my short sword, as opposed to using that in its place. But like I say, everybody has their own choices to make here throughout the game. So we can actually...
Don't waste a step.
We came in this way. Here. We came in through that hatch, which is over here, which you could go right back up that ladder and get yourself out. We now have the opportunity to also just go right out the front door.
Let's see what this does.
By leaving the way that we came. So we're going to just head out the front door and end up back at the top of the chapel.
Need to find a way forward.
Okay. And with it being 3 hours now, I think this brings us up to a good time to save, which we should have been doing quite a bit more throughout that, and get ready to continue on with our adventure from this point. So I think this is where we're going to pick it up next time. I think probably what we're going to be focusing on is now Lae'Zel is now reached her carry weight limit, so we probably need to get us to a point where we want to be trying to find a way to sell off some of our items. We're getting to a point where we're overloaded, and I'm actually just going to get Lae'Zel out of that. Put all these books over here, because Gale's not carrying anything, and books sound like a magic user. Something that a magic user would be carrying around. So yeah, we'll do that. That frees up some carrying space for her, and also I'm going to try and get as close to her carrying weight as I can. The glade's gonna probably put us over. Short bow's still good. Okay, so that's pretty good. So, and then what we'll probably do at the start is kind of go through our inventory here and look at the various armors that we've picked up. You know, actually, we can just do that here real quick. We still have a couple minutes left. So the leather bracers aren't really going to be doing anything for you, except, you know, putting a clothing option on one of your characters. They don't give you any benefit or anything like that while you're going through the game. So hide armor is a medium armor at level 12. Armor class 12, I mean. Don't need anything else that goes along with that. Leather armor is light armor. So I could see if anybody's capped out on dexterity. This might be of use, but it's not in this case. Now we have ring mail, which is heavy armor. And 14 and 15. Her armor class, yeah, is at 14. So what you could do, like I say, stripping your characters, you could put ring mail and give it to her, and then take her Githyanki half plate and use it in your place. But again, I don't normally try and strip my characters like that, so we'll leave all that how it is. Nothing here is really giving me any bonuses that I want. And that Everburn blade is going to be the best blade that you're going to be able to use for quite a while. So it's really not anything that you find that's not imbued with some sort of magic is going to be anywhere close to that. So great clubs, glaives, that sort of stuff. Nothing's going to come anywhere close to what the Everburn blade is going to be able to give you. So I think, I don't think Gale can use a short bow. I'm not entirely sure if he's proficient in it or not, but now everybody does have a ranged attack as well. It looks like he is proficient in it, so yeah, that's fine too. I think my spells that we've got listed out have gone out pretty good. I think the choices that we have are really well thought out. It's going to be interesting as we go through to see how these things play out. And whether or not you guys like the choices that I've made. And the approvals at neutral, at least for everybody, starting to come up. We'll see that kind of adjust as we get further through things here. So I think on that note, we will overwrite that save. And again, everybody, thank you for being here as part of the live stream. I certainly appreciate everybody being here. We had one crash at the very start and then didn't have another crash after that. So I'm at least not nearly as disappointed as I was last time with the stream. So hopefully we'll be avoiding that in the future, but we'll not jinx it and talk about it too much. So in the meantime, everybody, again, thank you for your time. Thank you for sticking around with me through all of this, and I hope to hear from you all in the comments. So on that note, everybody, have a good day.